Europe is in a massive energy crisis right now, with the price of electricity in France just hitting record highs. Their government is ordering businesses to cut back on the use of illuminated signs and advertising. In Berlin, Germany, they're turning off non-essential traffic lights at night. Millions could be without heat this winter. In Spain, it's now illegal in some places to put your AC below 80 degrees Fahrenheit. The UK is bracing for wide-scale blackouts this winter. Why is all this happening? Because of Joe Biden's sanctions that are nothing short of a modern-day siege. Now, this comes at a great cost, but Joe Biden told us, hey, this is necessary to defend Ukraine.
Defending freedom will have cost for us as well, and here at home. We need to be honest about that. But as we do this, I'm going to take robust action to make sure the pain of our sanctions is targeted at the Russian economy, not ours.
Now, there are costs for us, but it's not Joe Biden paying the price. Vladimir Putin is not either. Russia's energy revenue is higher now than before the war in Ukraine began. This is a supply problem that Joe Biden created, one that Russia is now profiting from. There is no cost, no amount of death, destruction, and suffering that'll get in the way of permanent Washington fulfilling their agenda. Now, remember former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright? And she said that 500,000 dead Iraqi children were worth the Clinton administration's sanctions.
We have heard that 500,000 children have died. I mean, that's more children than died in Hiroshima. You know, is the price worth it?
I think this is a very hard choice, but we think the price is worth it. It is a moral question, but the moral question is even a larger one. Don't we owe to the American people and to the American military and to the other countries in the region that this man not be a threat?
Now, despite their lectures and their crocodile tears, it's never been about morality. It's not about the people of Ukraine or protecting democracy. This is about regime change in Russia and exploiting this war to strengthen NATO and feed the military-industrial complex. Now, to Joe Biden, it's even about bringing about, quote, a new world order. We've got to lead it, he says. And he's trying to do just that, even if it means bringing us to the brink of nuclear catastrophe. Now, Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis is a combat veteran and author, and he joins us now. Danny, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Tulsi.
Talk to me about sanctions. You know, this is a word that politicians often throw out. It's their knee-jerk reaction to anything. We got to go punish them with sanctions. But who actually pays the price?
Yeah, you know, we are absolutely addicted to sanctions. I mean, anyone talks about anything internationally, sanctions is the first thing that comes up before they even think about the ramifications or even the possibility that it could accomplish anything. And that's one of the biggest mistakes that we make, is that we don't understand that whether that tool can accomplish something or is it just something we throw out there. Now, in this particular case, I think it's really important to point out that if the president was asking us to potentially sacrifice something that could actually make a difference, that could potentially turn the tide of the war, that might be one thing. Potentially the cost would be worth it. But Tulsi, there is no chance, no military path that Ukraine can win this war. There simply isn't. We have to be honest about that. And so that if you keep these sanctions on there and they hurt us more than they hurt Putin, I mean, you hit it right on the head there. Because the sanctions have limited how much oil they have sold the Russians, and it has accelerated the amount of money that they've made. So it's not working on them. But as you pointed out there, all those problems about Europe, it's about to hit even worse, and it could come back on our country as well. And this winter could be a very decisive case in this whole war if the Western people across the Western world turn against us, because they're saying, hey, we don't recognize an actual threat of any kind of invasion from Russia, but we sure do recognize the cost that we're paying.
You're exactly right, Danny. And it's not a question of if that'll happen. It's something that we are already seeing happening, where different countries in the world, different people are experiencing the effects of this administration's policies and sanctions and are turning towards us in a more antagonistic fashion than they would otherwise. Thank you so much, Danny. I appreciate your expertise always. It's great to have you here on the show.
Thanks for having me, Tulsi.